Good morning, 10B. This is your Tuesday morning input from me. I've just had a couple of emails, well, literally 4 emails from your group in yesterday's lesson, which was a bit disappointing, and only 2 of those actually contained any work attached. A couple of you had said that you didn't feel you had enough information to complete the question grid. Now, if you do, then you're more than welcome to carry on with the work I set you yesterday, which you can also find the YouTube clip on my YouTube channel if you need to go back over any of the to-do list, which you should have a copy of written down. Now, I hope you've got a pen and paper, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the area of pies with you. Some of you felt that you didn't have enough information, and because of the way the term started, we missed out on 2 of our lessons in that first week. So when we talk about pies, we're looking at 4 aspects of development. Now, aspects we could also call it 4 areas of development, but they always refer to it as aspects of development, and you need to make sure you use the correct terminology. And the 4 aspects are physical, intellectual, emotional, and social. Now, when you're answering questions, and you will be asked questions on pies in the exams, I haven't seen one paper where a question hasn't come up as yet. They want you to look at different areas of pies when answering it. I've attached a PowerPoint to an email that I've sent you, and on the second page you'll find a pies box, and that box is literally a large box split into 4 sections, and each section looks at one area of pies, one area of development. I need you to recreate that on pen and paper, so make sure you use a ruler, make sure it's neat. Normally if I was in class it would go up on the main screen, you'd have to copy it down. It doesn't matter that I've emailed you a hard copy. I need you to recreate that copy, because I need this to go in. I need you to do it as many times as you can so this information actually goes in. Alright? Once you've completed it, I want you to test each other on it. Try and remember different areas of pie. For example, when it comes to physical, they say that's things like not being given medication and being left in pain, broken bones, things that you can physically see are wrong with that person. When it comes to social, you look at things like being excluded, feeling isolated. So as many bullet points as you can, testing each other to see how many areas of pies you can remember and what the content is. That's the most important, what the content is. Right, so once you've done that, I want you to look at slide 3. Slide 3 has got the marking criteria. Now this is what I have to grade you on. I have no choice but to grade you on this. This is what they set me, and this is what I mark your work against. And you'll see it set into 3 levels. Now the lowest level says that you've answered the question, but you've only really gone into one section of pies in your answer. Now you could write me 42 pages, lots of information, all your points are valid and correct and there's nothing wrong, but I can only give you the minimum marks for it because you've only looked at one area of pies. To move up into the next category, you have to talk about at least 2 areas of pies. So if you talk about how it affects somebody physically and how it might affect them emotionally, you straight away move up into the second grading. And the top grading is if you go into 3 or more sections of pies. So you could literally write me a paragraph going into 2 sections of pies, talking about 2 areas of development, and will get me more marks than the person that wrote me 42 pages but only looking at one area. So what I want you to do is have a look at that and see how I'm meant to grade your work, so you understand that when you're answering a question, you need to look at more areas than just one. Don't just focus on one area of pies. You have to think about pies because it's areas of development. For example, if you were a newborn baby, when a baby's born, they've had no areas of development as yet. They've been created and they've been in the womb and they may have heard the mother's voice, the mother's heartbeat. They've actually not had any external input, so none of these areas have really developed. And when a baby cries and they show that emotion, when mum opens the bedroom door and comes rushing in, picks baby up, gives baby a hug, makes them a bottle, checks their nappy, the baby associates that emotion with being comforted, someone coming in and actually helping them, and they feel safe. And that part of the emotional development happens. They understand that emotionally, if they cry, that's going to happen. That's the response they're going to get. And that has input on how they develop. If a mother was to hear a baby crying, was to go in, throw open the bedroom door, scream, "What?" That is exactly what that baby's going to associate with that emotion. They're going to associate when they cry, the response they get is angry. And that will also affect how they develop emotionally. So when you're working in the healthcare profession, you look at the different 4 areas of pies to see where your service user is currently at and whether there's anywhere lacking, if there's anywhere that needs work, anything you can do to support them and help them to make sure you're maintaining their values of care. But when you answer questions, PEC and PIES, really important. Your values of care, if you can appropriately answer a question with the correct information that links PEC and PIES together, you're going to get the maximum marks. You're going to do absolutely everything in your power to get the top end of the marks. Okay? So have a look at the PIES, recreate it for me, test each other on it, and then go and have a look at the marking criteria and see what I mean about going into more than one area of PIES to get the best marks. I'm going to give you an example, and I want you to have a think about how you would answer it. How would you go into more than one area of PIES when answering the question? I'll type it out onto the PowerPoint for you that I send so you have a hard copy. But the example I'm going to give you, you're in the exam, the question is Edna. Edna is 89 years old. She lives in Green Acres Residential Care Home. She suffers with memory loss, query dementia, and arthritis, which means she has trouble moving her joints, her hands, her feet, her bones. Edna's taken to the dining room and put in front of her meal. Something happens in another part of the residential care home and the carer leaves the room. Where they're short-staffed, where they're busy, Edna's actually sitting there for an hour and a half looking at her meal. She's alone in the room. She has no way of feeding herself. They've missed her lunchtime meds because she's out the way, she's not where she's meant to be. And everything else is carrying on all around the place. What areas of PIES could this affect? And what values of care are not being met? Your answer should be at least a paragraph. Make sure you look at all the areas of PIES and try and get in at least 2, if not 3. Always go for the 3. Okay? Once you've done that, I want you to email that answer to me. I want to see some input from you. I need some work. We can do this and this will absolutely work. I should be back in work next week, no problem. But I need the input from you for this to work. So if you need to look at the old YouTube clip from Monday's lesson, do. Make sure you have your to-do list. Make sure you're up to speed. I only had 2 lots of work. Where's the rest of it? Come on, people. And I will see you really soon. Good luck.